Marisa, what seems to have driven Zuma to turn his back on the ANC, a party that propelled him to South Africa's presidency?
So I think one very important thing to take into account is although the ANC presents itself as a very unified front, there are factions that exist within the party and that have existed for some time. And actually, one of the earliest points in South Africa's post-apartheid history that we see one of these factions actually comes in 2008, when there's a breakaway from the ANC and the Congress of the People is formed. We've also seen another former president, Thabo Mbeki, who was in charge of South Africa before Jacob Zuma, also come out in the past 2 years recently and criticize some of the ruling party's activities and stances on things. So even though this is perhaps something new from Jacob Zuma himself, it's not necessarily new for the ANC.
So what impact would now his decision have on ANC party when it comes to next year's general election?
I don't think that Zuma has a very big hold within the ruling party still, but what is quite concerning is that we saw 2 years ago, in 2021, in July specifically, when Zuma was arrested on charges relating to corruption and was put in jail, we saw a very big outburst of violence, which took hold across 2 of South Africa's 9 provinces, KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. And that violence lasted for several days and saw widespread looting and protests. And there's the concern that it will not necessarily have an impact on the ANC itself, but we might be looking at that type of social unrest again, which in 2021 was quite unprecedented for post-apartheid South Africa, but now is something that we might have to guard against. The popular support for Zuma is still there. There's high levels of inequality in South Africa, and when you put 2 things together, you put high levels of dissatisfaction with the ruling party, high unemployment, low economic growth, tensions between these factions and its supporters. That really could be a recipe for more unrest. And I think that's something that here in South Africa we will have to watch quite closely in the coming months.
And Marisa, what do you make of his allegation that President Cyril Ramaphosa and the ANC party are, quote, a proxy for white monopoly capital?
So I think first we have to try to understand what Zuma means when he uses the phrase white monopoly capital. He's referring to the sense that even though South Africa got political freedom in 1994 and becoming a democracy, a lot of the country's economic interest was still kept in the hands of white South Africans because political freedom doesn't necessarily equate to economic freedom. Unfortunately, the way that Zuma and other political parties like the Economic Freedom Fighters use this phrase is really to use ideology as a way to get political support. And this, unfortunately, South Africa is still a very racialized society. Things are very much understood on racialized terms. So this is one way, or using this phrase is one way for Zuma to really appeal to tried to get much more popular support for his cause and really tried to resonate with voters and tried to get a lot more people on his side.
Marisa, very quickly, what do you know about this Umkhonto Sizwe party?
Well, unfortunately, there's not very much information available, and I don't really expect that we're going to get more. I think that, again, Zuma is going to really draw on what Umkhonto Sizwe meant in the past, being the ANC's military ring. He's going to focus a lot on the role that he played in it. But at the moment, there's not much that's available. We don't know its political aims. There's no manifesto or anything like that. It's very new. We're quite close to the elections. I think that this is really a way to try to punish the ANC rather than looking towards actually creating a proper new political party or supporting one.